Can you please share your journey of becoming the president of Springfield College?
Many people wonder, has one become the president? Did I always want to be the president of a college? And the answer to that is not necessarily.
Where do you see the future of Springfield College is next 5 years? Because you make very realistic goal. Where do you see the future of Springfield?
That's a great question.
Why you decide to come? Why did you agree to come on the student podcast like my podcast? Hello and welcome to Let's Grow Officials. I'm your host Mary-Beth Cooper. I'm very excited to introduce a very special guest today. She is the 13th president of Springfield College and the first woman to ever hold this position. She became president in August 2013 and her leadership has been defined by a strong commitment to a humanic philosophy, educating students in spirit, mind and body for service to others. She has also served in the key leadership role at the NCAA, including the vice chair of the NCAA Board of Governors. I'm super excited to introduce my president, Springfield College president, the one and only Mary-Beth Cooper. President, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. What a great honor to share this space with you and to tell you a little bit about my journey and my hopes and dreams for this very special college.
Oh, thank you very much. Tell a little more about yourself.
So, I am one of 6 children. I grew up in the DC area and I have 5 older brothers. Again, the youngest and the only girl, so I'm familiar with being the only gender of something in terms of being it may in many ways have prepared me to be the president of Springfield College. And furthered my education at a number of schools, but always working in higher education as primarily student affairs, dean of students, vice president of student affairs prior to my arrival here in 2013.
President, you said that you are one of the 6th child. I am one of the 7th child. I have 6 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh my goodness!
And it is very common in Nepal. Like my father was also 6 brothers, 1 sister.
Oh really?
Oh, he has 6 brothers, 1 sister. My second uncle, he also has 6 boys and 1 girl. So we have a very big family.
That's wonderful. It's a wonderful way to grow up and to be with different people. It helped me understand different personalities because I lived amongst different personalities. And watching parents manage different personalities in the way that they did helped me approach different individuals and different perspectives because I grew up in a world that had, or space that had different personalities, which is a positive.
Oh, okay. I love to hear that. President Cooper, can you please share your journey of becoming the president of Springfield College? A lot of people ask this question.
Many people wonder, has one become the president? Did I always want to be the president of a college? And the answer to that is not necessarily. I was in college studying criminal justice and English and thought I might be a lawyer. And while I was there at the University of Delaware, I noticed that there were people that worked at the college. My hall director, my director of residence life. I was very involved in student government and realized there was an advisor, somebody that did a job like Annie Warchal's full time. And so I thought, well, this is exciting. You could work on a college campus after you graduate. And I said, how does one do that? And the answer is you get a master's in higher education. That's the first step. And then once I got my master's in higher education, I became a hall director and then I became a director of residence life. And I said, well, how do you become a vice president of student affairs? And he said, well, you probably need a terminal degree, a PhD. So I went to Michigan State and got my first PhD at Michigan State, and then came back, continued on my journey in student life, always working with students. Athletics reported to me. I had an opportunity to see everything that happened outside the classroom. I had an opportunity to shape, to ensure that students had a successful resident experience or dining experience. And then about 13 years after being a vice president of student life, I said, I wonder what it would be like to be president. And Springfield College had a vacancy. Their president had retired. And what brought me to Springfield College is I had a long relationship with the YMCA. in Rochester, a longtime volunteer, and I chaired the board of directors for the YMCA of Rochester. And I was told that this school had a history with the YMCA. And so it really was a perfect intersection of my professional life in higher ed and also my personal avocation of serving primarily women and families. And that's part of, and they shared the same interests, spirit, mind, and body. And in fact, the triangle, the YMCA also uses the triangle as a part of its mission. And so they've always been closely aligned since we began as a training center for young Christian men that were working in YMCAs. And so when I came to interview, I explained to the search committee that it was a good fit for me personally to be in a place that shared my love for spirit, mind, and body and service and leadership to others. And so that's what brought me to Springfield College in 2013.
Wow, President, thank you very much for sharing your journey. And okay, so I noticed one thing. So you took one step ahead like initially you become like a student government, then I want this position, you got that. I want this position, you got that. Tell us about your like mindset. How do you think in the life? Like I like this, like everything is very structured. You think, okay, I will go for this step, this step, and finally you are the president of Springfield College. How do you strategize your goal in the life?
So, a couple ways. I heard an incredible speaker a number of years ago, and he was a speaker at a conference, and he talked about setting goals. Now, often you go and you hear somebody talk about setting goals, and you go, oh, tell me something new, tell me something different. Well, he had talked about wanting to be a speed skier in the Olympics. And he said to the large group, there might have been 8,000 people in the room, his goal was to be in the Olympics.
Okay.
Be an Olympic athlete. That was his goal. And he tells everybody the journey and training and how he achieved one goal at a time to then find himself in the Olympics. Well, he later shows the clip about what happens at the Olympics, and he does not win. And the audience, Mirage, it was a heavy sigh, like, oh no, you didn't reach your goal. And he said, no, I met my goal. My goal was to be an Olympic athlete. I didn't say I wanted to win a gold ribbon or a gold medal. I wanted to be an Olympic athlete. I met my goal. And so I think sometimes people set unrealistic goals. And he had us go through this exercise, and he gave everybody 3 small yellow dots. And he said, identify 3 goals you want in your life. And I put mine, and he said, put it somewhere that you'll see it every day. Some people put it on a mirror when they get ready in the morning. I put mine in my wallet. And I still, if I had my wallet in front of me, I'd be able to show you there's 1 dot that's still not rubbed off. And that, I might have heard him 20 years ago. And so I put in my 3 goals were, I wanted to have a strong, successful marriage. I wanted to run a marathon. And then I wanted to have a place by the ocean.
Oh, okay.
Okay? And the reason I put them in my wallet was because every time I used a credit card to purchase something, I would see my goals. And by purchasing something, I was impacting my savings. And if I was purchasing too much, I was probably impacting my marriage, right? And so every time I opened my wallet, I was reminded of my goals. And then one at a time, we're celebrating almost 40 years of marriage, so I've been able to maintain a healthy marriage through a lot of work. I ran a marathon in 2012 through a lot of personal training. I did the Marine Corps marathon. And I didn't set a goal. I didn't say I wanted to be the first or the fastest. I wanted to just do the marathon. And then in 2012, we also bought a place near the ocean. And so after I did the marathon, I changed because I had the 3 goals. Second goal was to be a college president. And so what would I need to do to become a college president? Well, I had the education. I had, at that point, had 2 PhDs and 2 masters and many years of experience. I went out and talked to other college presidents. What's the life like? What do you have to do? Well, you have to be disciplined. You have to be focused. You need to know about trends. You need to do your reading. You need to be prepared. And you need to be prepared for this life of being a college president, where you work long hours and you are visible and you stay on top of trends and you try to respond to the needs of your employees and respond to the board of trustees who are your bosses. And most importantly, you are listening to students. And so within that year, I applied to Springfield College, and that's how, again, it was the perfect intersection of my personal goals and my professional goals. And so I do think that is to say that planning and preparation are probably the two most important things that you need to do.
Wow, this is incredible. Thank you very much for sharing. Oh, this is the secret of your success.
Secret.
And thank you for sharing to us. First, as a student, I think now I have a strong belief, but now I feel more relief because the way you said that you always set the realistic goal. It means you have I feel, Springfield College, we have very bright future because we are in right hand.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And congratulations. I think it's not a. I think I like the way you see the life from the different. It was like successful marriage along. That was great. Marathon. You're doing a lot of great things. Wow. Thank you very much for sharing this all. You also said that when you look for the president, first you got to prepare for that. Thank you very much. I think that is very important. Thank you for sharing that because you are the one whom a lot of students look up. So now we will learn like how we can set up the realistic goal and what we need to do for that.
Yes.
Thank you. President Cooper, a lot of people also want to know what does a typical day in the life of President Cooper look like?
So it's a good question. Every day is a little different, but normally my days are full of meetings with constituencies, such as students or faculty or my direct reports, the people that run the college, all the vice presidents. And so every day looks a little different, but they start out similarly. I exercise in the morning, but I do it first thing in the morning so that I can ensure I fit it in, because sometimes the rest of the day gets a little, things happen that you don't plan for. So let me tell you about today. So today I got up early and I exercised. I met a colleague from another college about 7:30. So I get up about 4:30 in the morning and get my exercise in, spend time either with my husband or take care of the dogs. Met a colleague about a job opportunity for him that he wanted to talk about. And then I came into campus and talked with somebody that I directly supervised, two people right in a row that I supervise, to see how their days are going and what their needs are. And then as the day progressed, I jumped on a Zoom call with one of the boards I sit on and participated in that meeting. Wrote a letter of recommendation, was involved again with another person about the finances of the college, and I went through and managed some of the bills that we needed to pay and prepare for. So I met with our CFO this afternoon and then had this opportunity. And then I go from here to Thanksgiving dinner that the students are organizing for tonight. CAB and BSU and SGA are doing a Thanksgiving dinner. And then at 8 o'clock I go over to Nathan Bill's and I will be a celebrity bartender.
Wow.
For the PA Association. They're raising funds for their trip in the spring. So they said, would you be so I'll be pouring beers or making drinks from 8 to 9, and then that's the end of my day.
Wow, you said that's it the end of the day. You have a lot on your plate.
We do.
But I like you. So then you in the beginning you talk about you go to the gym, so you take care of yourself, personal life, professional life, give time to the student, help the student. Wow, this is I think this is one of the perfect life I wish can be.
Well, you can do that, and that's the beautiful thing. If there's one message I'd say is, if you see something that you like and are intrigued by it, find out how to do it. I mean, I think those that are the most curious find the way to design their own journey and to be curious about what you don't know, because there are things and there are some days that are not as much fun as others, but more days than not are full of helping people achieve their dreams and making sure their experience here at Springfield College is favorable.
Okay, I like it. So it feel like how you are passionate about the presidency because you do the job, you also take care of yourself, also give a lot of helping a student or meeting the student. what does it really mean to be the president of Springfield College?
I have the awesome, and that's a word that is often misused. When I say awesome, I mean awesome in the sense of huge. It's an awesome responsibility, and it is awesome. I mean, it's favorable if you use awesome in that manner, but many people put their faith in me and the institution to deliver an experience that for a learner is productive for you, from an employee base that it will be favorable. And so my role is to make sure that we're financially stable, that we are able to weather any storms that come our way, whether it be things that the federal government may be doing or things that FASFO last year when we had the snafus with the federal government, we had to work around that, or COVID. COVID was managing a college through COVID was really quite an experience that many presidents had to go through, but we had to keep our students safe. And when was it safe for them to play athletics? When was it safe for them to return to campus? And so when I say it's an awesome responsibility, it's a very large responsibility. That it's an honor, and it is mostly joyful. There are days where everybody has a day or two or a problem that is, you think you solve it, and then you come back the next day and you haven't solved it, it's still there, and you have to go back to the drawing board and identify how you could solve the problem or the challenge better. And so what I think drives this institution is its Humanics philosophy. And people want to do the right thing, and there are people involved. So we're not operating on a spreadsheet with numbers. We're operating with people and their lives, right? Whether they're an employee or whether they're a student. And so it's helpful to see the data, and I can be very data-driven when it comes to making decisions. But ultimately, the data has a face, and it has a heart.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you make me emotional now.
It's okay. It's okay to be emotional.
Oh, thank you. President Cooper, you talk about the safety. So I recorded a podcast with our public safety chief, and he said that by the time when President Cooper came, we got a lot of resources to make college more safer. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much for
You're
that.
welcome.
So you do a lot of things. Even though like you are one of the president who live on campus, and we see you around the campus. I see you in a lot of even Cheney. But despite that, I will ask this question: what are the major misconceptions people have about the role of president at Springfield College, or in general?
Certainly. Well, one of the things that I think is a funny story that I often tell is when I first came to the college. I live on campus, as you know, and we grew up in a household similar to yours, where we always had to turn the lights off when we left a room. My mother was, very conscious of electricity bills and heat bills, and so we, as a large family, had to follow certain rules. So if you left a room, you turned the light out. And as for those of you that are familiar with my house, the rooms that face the front are not the rooms that you necessarily live in. My office is there, a formal study is there, a presentation room where we invite guests to come in, and when we do, we host a lot of events, but they're not rooms that I'm in normally at night. The kitchen, the family room where we watch TV, are in the back of the house, and my bedroom is in the back of the house. And so after the first year or the second year, students would say, "Do you really live there?" And I said, "Of course I live there. What would make you think I lived somewhere else?" And they said, "The lights are never on." So now I'm very conscious of having the lights on so people know that the house is habited by me and that I'm there even though they don't see me. And so that's a misconception. Another misconception is that, I think I'm very visible, and I appreciate your compliment. But there are times where students say, well, does she go to the art show? Does she go to, where else? I didn't see the president here. Where is she? And sometimes they translate to that means I don't care about them. So I reflect on my calendar, and you and I have spoken about this before. I'll look at my calendar at the end of the week. So tomorrow night we have Dancing with the Stars. And so I'm serving as a judge for that. And Saturday we've got all kinds of athletic events, wrestling, football, basketball. But at the end of the week, when I look at my calendar, Did I touch diverse populations? Did I make it to those that are in the performing arts? Did I go to athletic contests? Did I go to a lecture? If a faculty member is doing a lecture at noon, did I make it a priority to be there? And so I think that any good leader should reflect on their level of activity and how they spend their time, because time is really the measure of what is important to you, how much time you put into anything. And that's why sometimes social media can be a time suck, in the sense that the more you scroll, you can lose valuable time. And so when people say to me they don't have time to exercise, I'm like, you have time. We all have the same amount of hours in a day. How you use it is really what differentiates the people that are the most successful. How you use your time. We all have the same week. And if you look back on a particular week and say, I didn't get as much exercise in, or I've really lost touch with some of my friends, the good news is you have the next week to change that.
Oh, wow.
Right? So then you write to your friend and say, I haven't seen you, let's grab lunch Tuesday at Genie. So I think you have to control your schedule so that your priorities are actually being accomplished.
President Cooper, thank you very much for sharing this.
Excuse me.
And as a student, I think you say that some people think that you are not in event, but I have been to the event, like alumni event, you were there. Computer science club where I was doing the presentation, you were in that my session. A lot of our international event, even the orientation, you came there. So no, you have been in a lot of event.
Yes.
I think the students who do not see you, they are not going to there.
That's right. I'm not where they're at, but I appreciate that too. And I don't know that people know what the president does. I stopped in a class this morning, a criminal justice class, and I said, is everybody excited for Thanksgiving? And in that conversation, the faculty member told me they needed a chair, and he needed some additional resources. And I asked the students what they need, and they said, well, we need our own room. They need their own classroom. And so I do think by asking people what their needs are, I can address some of them, not all of them, but I can address some of them. And so it's important to be present and be in front of people. And so tonight, even though it'll be fun to be at the Thanksgiving dinner, it'll give me a chance to hear how people are interacting with the college and what their needs are. And in my role as president, I can direct resources. We don't have a lot of resources, but it's important for me to know what students' priorities are, and faculty as well, because if I don't know, then I make decisions based on what I think is important.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for being very close to us.
My pleasure. It really is my pleasure.
And you told that I'm also one of the star dancer of the
Are you?
Dancing with the Star, yes.
Are you ready?
They just gave me 2 classes, and even though after this podcast I'm going for the rehearsal. So
Oh
I'm
my
trying my
gosh,
best.
how exciting. Okay, don't bias the judge. Who's your partner?
Sophia and Mary, they are like best. I come from a like mostly Nepali family, so their dance is taking not good way. Like you should not dance. This is against my value, like the place where I grew up. So, but I wanted to dance, but I have never danced. But this time they invited me. They are teaching me, so I'm very excited for the.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, good. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
Yeah, thank you. And you brought one of the very important topics that I think my generation is facing about the social media. Let's put a little bit more light on it. How do you handle your social media? Do you know, like average, like college student, they spend at least more than 4 hours every day on the social media. How do you do your social media, and what would be your suggestion for specifically Springfield College student? What they should do with the social media?
So we didn't have social media when I went to college, and so I can't quite relate to what that's like for students, except that I think there's some very positive things, and it's a fun way to connect. I have a large family. To see my nieces and their children on social media is fun for me to see what they're doing in Maryland, where they live, for example. And I'm not really comparing myself to other people as I think students might be. But the other piece is that it can give you a false sense of what a person's life is like. Because if you followed me, you would see lots of joy and fun events, and whether it be at a basketball event last Friday night in Rochester, or tonight or tomorrow night. But there's also a lot of people, especially during the holidays, and all the challenges that are happening worldwide, that aren't feeling so great, that are feeling lonely. And I think if you're feeling lonely, the image of other people being very connected and very happy and everything's going right for them, and you're feeling like everything's not going right for me and I'm sad. Most people don't post those sad pictures, right? And so it's a false sense of security. What I would say is that I do try to limit my time on my device. I post, I would say, 3 or 4 times a week. But it's usually school related. And I don't do TikTok. I haven't done I just do Instagram and Facebook. And I do try to promote the college.
Yeah, thank you. I also post a lot about the college. I love the college.
I love that you love the college.
Yeah, thank you. And I very strongly believe that the opportunity I get from the Springfield College, I think a lot of people should deserve this opportunity. So we should share about the college so that a lot of people can come and experience this wonderful opportunity.
Yes, and that is, showcasing that is really important, right? To say, this is, for the people that follow you, to say, this is a special place. Let me show you how special it is. And so that's the positive. The negative is some people spend too much time.
Too much time, yeah.
Right, you gotta put the phone down.
Yes, and I like the way you say that. I limit it, and also nowadays a lot of people, like, do you know, even though I did one podcast with Brian Krylovic, and he said that when the social media come, the rate of depression has like extensively increased because people just compare with the people high moment, no one posts about the low moment.
Yes.
And you talk about our special thing about Springfield College. I will just ask this question. There are nearly 6,000 colleges and universities in Springfield, in the United States. What makes Springfield College special?
Many things make Springfield College special. Our mission is our differentiator. And the fact that our students know our mission. Oftentimes we bring consultants in to study the college. What could we be better at? And they'll say to me, do you know that your students know the mission? And I sometimes now, before they say that, I'm like, don't tell me that I know our students know it. First of all, it's not that complicated. Spirit, mind, and body. Now, oftentimes students don't add on in leadership and service to others. So I always bring that up when I'm in front of student groups. That's one piece. We have a commitment to, and this is important for many reasons, to many rituals, right? And I was talking to the president of the University of Hartford, who's a friend and a colleague, last night about beanies. And he said, what the heck's a beanie? And I said, our students wear a beanie when they come. And it's a throwback to when students wore beanies many, many years ago. And when I first came here, I was amazed that students would wear these beanies on orientation, but it's a connection. So rituals are very important. The senior toast at my house is very important at the end of their senior year, because it's a passage to the fact that they're getting ready to graduate. And so I think having rituals, whether it be holding the door for people, not walking on the grass, and although those sound silly, you can't dismiss how important that is, because you're saying how valuable it is to be with other people. I've been on many campuses as an employee. And our students don't typically, and they certainly check their phones, but they're not on their devices the whole time. You see them walking across our campus, and that it's not that large, but they don't walk out of a classroom or out of a meeting and pull their phone out. Where I see that at other campuses, there is a tendency for people to interact with others. And I think that is a practice that we have here. The element of care that our students show each other and others. I often say this at orientation, we do somewhere in the area of 120,000 hours of service a year. faculty, students, and staff. And for a 4-year private institution, that number's around, the average is around 40 or 50. So we are more than doubled how much we give back to the community. And you don't have to go far to see it, whether it's the Pride Pantry or the tree that has all of the coats and socks and all the things that are people needing, or adopting a family for the holidays, or Humanics, the very first time that students come to campus and we have people go out into the community, or today, in honor of the issues around hunger, having an opportunity to be in the union and respond to it, do something about the problem. And that, I think, is really unique. Our students are very other-centered, and so it really is a great place to be a president, because your students are different. They are special. And I would put our students up against any other college I've been at, and I've loved my time at other institutions. But there is something special about Springfield College.
Yeah, wait, thank you very much for explaining this, but I will start from here. This especially is made by the people who are on the upper level. Like whenever I see you say hi to me, that is the great things. And we say hi to everyone. Wait, so I went to WPI for the presentation. And because in college we say hi to everyone, student, faculty, everyone. I said hi and people are watching me, right? We don't know how are you saying hi. Then my friends say, wait, this is not a Springfield College.
That's so true. I still do it, right? Or you see somebody and their first response is, do I know you? And the answer is no, but, and you don't, I'm not saying, please know me and I want to get to know you better. I'm just saying, hello.
Yeah, let's just
right.
say that happiness, that moment of happiness. I did my internship at Big Y, and then one woman, she came and said, hey, where do you go to school? I was wearing the hoodie. She said, oh, do you go to Springfield College? I said, yes. Then she said, do you know why people do not walk in the grass? Because I went there and people do not walk in the grass because Springfield College teaches there is no shortcut in life. That really touches my heart. Like really people perceive it very personally and very good way.
Yes.
So that's good. Thank you very much for making that culture, and that I think that is our pride.
Well, the only thing and I hate to disagree with you in this podcast, but I really think it's the students. It was here before I arrived, and it'll be here when I'm not here, because the upper class students bring in the new freshmen and they say, here is your community, and here's how we act, here's how we operate. And we're not telling you to do this, but we're showing you that this is how the culture is created. And it is certainly, it's the David McMahons, it's the Annie Wirchals, I could list all of them, Dr. Slandy, and the faculty in the classrooms that teach and show a level of respect to our students. And so, although certainly as employees we have some responsibility, but I would say it's the students that keep the culture going, because it goes and goes and goes. And people graduate, a fourth of the community changes every year, and the community is still strong. That's a big change to happen, and you think, ooh, what if we lose it? The students won't let that happen.
Yeah, I think that is one of the. I think that also what makes Springfield College very special. It's been my 4th year here. I have not been to home yet, but to be honest, I never miss my home.
Yeah.
This feel like second home, and also like when everyone say hi to each other, you do not feel that you are alone in United States. So you feel like you are the part of this family, even not a community. I feel like a family.
Yes.
So thank you very much. This is like one of the great cultures
Good.
that we have. President Cooper, I know there are throughout your time, I think there are just so many great things even we cannot list out here, whether it's like health science new building, library and everything. Where do you see the future of Springfield Colleges next 5 years? Because you make very realistic goal. Where do you see the future of Springfield?
That's a great question. You know, and each change to the campus has been motivated by a conversation, many conversations, but let's start with the library. There was a student, first name Rocco, who was a student leader, and at the time it was called Babson, and it was in disarray, and it wasn't open very late. And so he would say to me, you know, I just get in and I get settled in Babson in the library, and then the lights flicker, or a message comes over the PA saying the library's getting ready to close. So because many other colleges have the first floor open 24 hours. And every time I saw Rocco, he would say, what are you going to do about the library? What are you going to, President Cooper, when are you going to do something about the library? And finally I said, okay, we're doing something about the library. And we put together a committee, and lo and behold, now the library is all renovated. It's open 24/7, and people have access to it. And it was a change to, students love those rooms, and they love sitting in, the furniture's comfortable. But that was driven by a student. And when we built the new Health Science Center, faculty said we are in dire need of better facilities for our students so they can learn better. And the Health Science Center was really designed by faculty. And so, although you may attribute that to me, I just made it possible to navigate the system, raise money for it, set aside money for it, get a bond for it. But your community will tell you what we need. So a great question now is, so what will we do now that it's not even taken down and I've forgotten it, the residence hall. Gulick, my goodness. So how do we decide to take Gulick down? Well, it had about $25 million of deferred maintenance. It had 2 coolers that provided air conditioning to the building, and very, very small windows. And the building was not ADA compliant, right? So you couldn't, if you were in a wheelchair, you couldn't navigate through Gulick.
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
So there's a certain part of our population that couldn't live there. So the first air conditioner went, and it was an older building, and to replace that would have been incredibly expensive. And I said to Dr. Slaney, I said, when the second chiller goes, and we don't have air conditioning, the building will be less attractive. Students will not tolerate it. And so we decided that since it didn't have air conditioning and it had all the deferred maintenance, that we would take it down. And now people say, what will you put there? What is the plan? And the plan is to finish taking the building down, and when the students return in January, the building should be completely down and the fencing down, and hopefully the parking lot will be returned so that people can park there that work out in the wellness center, that don't live in Gulick anymore, but they access the wellness center or some of the athletic facilities. And then we're going to talk about what we're going to put there. Is it a new residence hall? Is it a conference center? Is it an upper class building? Is it, and we need to find out what it is that we need. About 88% of our students live on campus, we're residential. And we'll go to the students, and there'll be students that serve on the committee, and we'll say, what is it that you would like? What are you hoping to have in your experience? Or could we raise more non-tuition revenue by having a conference center that people come during the summers and stay, which we have a lot of conferences already, but to be really competitive in that space, or to teach certificates or do something. And so we need to use our forward thinking and creative minds to determine what we put out in that space. My hope is that by the end of this year, or at least in the fall, we will have determined what we'll build. But you don't want to rush into, that building across the way, the health science building, it was $62 million. That's a very pricey decision, but we took a risk that, there are going to be over 10 million healthcare workers needed in the next 5 to 10 years. So we've got to respond to the workforce with what we're teaching. And so what building we put up should be really aligned to our strategic plan. So the answer to that is we're talking about it. The future of the college, we will always be residential. I think our students love that. I think they love living on campus, playing on campus, learning on campus. But some do want some online education. So what will we do in that space? We won't have all online programs. It's not what our students are asking for. So we've got to be responsive to what the client, if you will, in this situation is looking for.
That's cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. And in the very beginning of this answer, President Cooper, I think this is also one of the. I was reading a book, one of the very great leader quality. I'm not the one who can say leader quality. You are itself one of the great and very charismatic leader. Everyone say in the college, but like the way you always give credit to the people. Even the first time when I came, I didn't realize what you said that, oh, you are doing podcasting, these things need, you do a lot of things. So you already gave a lot of credit to me. You give credit to the people. That's so kind of you. Thank
Well,
you.
and others have done that for me in my career. Many people helped me become who I am today. And so I do think you have to give people opportunities to learn and grow. And when credit is due, you have to recognize that. I think that's very important.
Thank you. I think I should learn this more from you. I'm going to do
I think you're very gracious. Being gracious is important and generous.
Thank you. You said about, you said that a lot of people did a lot of things in my life. Who are you if we remove the position and title of President of Springfield College?
Well, so many people shaped who I am today, and many of the people that I directly worked for. I worked for 5 different presidents in my career, and they all weren't very, very complimentary. Oh, you're so great, you're so special, No, some of them were very hard and said, you must learn more about that. You must prepare for budgets and financial analysis. I think you should go back and get an MBA. So I listened to one of my bosses at University of Rochester who said, you're lacking something. You've got a gap. And so I often, when people say, I wish my boss gave me more compliments, I always say, you're better served if somebody gives you constructive feedback. The only way you can get better is for somebody to help identify what your weaknesses are or your gaps. Not weaknesses in a bad way, but oftentimes we don't pay attention to what we need to do to be better.
I like it. Yeah, I also love. So there is, I think I should give credit to her. We have a Lauren in Career Center.
Yes.
And she helped me since my freshman year. I got my internship every semester. So thank you, Lauren. But on the very first, in my freshman year, I met her. And she was saying, Miraj, you are doing this great, that great. I said, Lauren, if you just say all the good thing about me, next time I will never come to your office.
Yes. Good. That's good that you're open to it.
Yeah, like she was saying all the good thing. You come from Nepal, this. I said, wait. Please don't say that thing. Say what are the things I need to do to be better. Like what I am today, I want to be better tomorrow. I'm sorry, Lauren.
Oh, I think she probably understands.
Yeah, but she helped me a lot. I got internship every semester. I'm on very good shape with my LinkedIn, everything. So thank you. But I like the way you said that we should appreciate the people who give constructive feedback. Not like what we want to hear, what we need to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you can learn from it. So did I tell you about my next goal? And then when we talked before, I set a goal this summer to do something out of my comfort zone. And so I was with a group of friends that all were setting goals. One is learning how to be a drummer. One is learning how to make the perfect souffle. And I said, I've always wanted to do a back flip.
Oh, really?
Off of a diving board.
Okay.
Okay? Because I've never been able to do that. It looks beautiful. It looks like something achievable. So I went to Pete A, who's our diving coach here, and I said, do you think you could teach me how to do a back flip off the diving board? And he said, sure. Now he's a very good teacher. And I said, I have a pretty good back dive that I've perfected over the years. And he looked at me and he said, I'll be the judge of that. And I said, okay. And he was right. I think I have a good back dive, but he's really the professional.
Oh, okay.
So I go over and I get in the pool, get wet, and then I show him my back dive, and he goes, okay, that's a good starting place. And so we are working on what I need to do a back flip. And he brought out a pool skimmer, and he said, he held it out, and he said, okay, now dive over that. Dive, and he kept raising it.
Oh, God.
And I said, oh my gosh. And I said, okay, that's enough. But he was pushing me to get higher air. And then next week we're going to get into a harness that they put you in that shows you what it's like to flip over, because that's what I'm having problems. So he said, come to practice. So I went to practice, and all the diving students were there, and one by one they did a back flip, and they talked me through how you do a back flip. So Dr. Cooper, look ahead of you, put your arms out, keep focusing on that spot, and then get a lot of, you jump, 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 get a lot of air, and then slowly flip your legs over your head. And I still can't quite see it, but they were so helpful in helping me understand what the process was like, because I was having problems visualizing it. And so before the end of the year, I will, and what is funny about that, similar to this podcast, they videotape you. So I will have a videotape of the back flip when I achieve it. Now, I'm very nervous about it because I'm afraid I can't do it. But Pete thinks I can. And so you have to practice and you have to practice, and he'll help me do it. But I think setting goals, and he's a good coach. He might be the best coach I've ever met. But he's encouraging me, but he's also very direct, and do this and don't do that, and you need to do more of that. And I think that's really important. And so that's my goal for this year. And you'll see the video, because when I'm done with it, you'll see it. I will put it out there.
Oh, okay. I'm also working on my six-pack because
Are you?
I
see you at the gym.
Yeah, this is why I'm very consistent with the gym. Because I come from very remote village where there is no concept of gym. So I used to have a belly. So whenever I used to go in the business conference, it feel like, bro, am I talking or my stomach is talking? So I thought, and our college, athlete college, a lot of my friends have six packs. It's more about you also get convinced with the people around you. So everyone has good body, six pack. So I said, okay, I'm also going to make six pack in this year. This is my one of the.
And how's it going?
So far it's going very good. I feel, so first nowadays I have like a straight body, like no belly.
Yes.
I don't have that exact same, but I'm hoping I still have a couple of months, so I will get that.
Well, good luck. I think I see you at the gym, and that's part of it, right? Is the discipline.
Yeah, I'm also going to post that transitional video from belly to six pack.
Oh, good.
Yes.
So you have your original pictures
Yes,
already?
I have a video of that.
Oh, can't wait to see it. Good for you.
Thank you. President Cooper, thank you very much for sharing this, because it shows that you are you are a good, I will not say good learner, like you are very curious to learn. Like, see, you are also putting a lot of challenges in life, like you love solving the challenges of the life. Thank you very much for sharing this.
Well, we're all lifelong learners, and part of being curious. I don't know if you heard Becky Latique talk about being curious. She spoke at she was one of the speakers a few weeks ago, and she talked about the power of being curious. And I love that. I think the people that I'm drawn to are the people that are curious about whatever you're curious about. You don't have to be curious about what I'm curious about, but this six-pack goal, I think that is fascinating.
Okay, thank
right?
you.
I mean, that shows determination, and that you want to do something. And I want to be around people that want to do things,
Okay.
right? Don't you? I mean, like.
Yeah, that push you, that motivate you.
Yes.
That is the people whose frequency match with your frequency.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. President Cooper, once you share a very beautiful reflection with me about the things that you practice every day. Can you please share with our audience? I think that was very powerful for me, and I'm doing every day. So can you please share that?
Well, I wish I remember exactly what I said, but I'll tell you that every day I look to say something positive to another individual, another human, and interact with that person. I talked a little bit about reflecting on my day and doing what is good for my spirit, mind, and body every day, whether that's exercise or reading or meditating in the morning, but always at the end of the day reflecting back on, did I get done what I needed to do? I often say at work, it's important to do today's work today. And so I rarely leave anything for the next day that needs to be finished today. And so when I don't get today's work done, it makes tomorrow more significant. But I like to interact with and say something positive to at least one individual, whether I know them or not, and acknowledge them so that there's a human interaction. The exercise component. I'm not sure what else I said I do every day. Do you remember?
Yes, like
Tell me more about what I said.
so, like you want to make one impact or solve one problem for other people. You make sure that you do exercise every day. You eat good every day. What do you do? What problem did you solve?
Yes.
How you make good impact in someone's life. But the main point is like I like the way you say that you keep some of the things that you are doing every day. It's related to health, making good impact in someone's life. I think that was very fascinating to me.
Yes, and you're right that solving a problem or helping somebody else solve a problem is, I think, how you add value. I want to add value in the workplace and in human relationships, and the way you do that is helping somebody else. And that's one of the things that I see here at Springfield College. And if I'm unable to do that, I feel a sense of loss, because I think people are looking for some recognition, they want to be seen, right?
Yes.
And so I see you and I see how hard you're working. So today I interacted with an employee that I said, "You're doing a great job, and I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for getting this for me." So that person knows when they go home that I saw what they did, right? Because lots of times people will say, "Nobody sees me." And some of these people you interact with all day long, and so that makes me concerned if people feel like they haven't been seen or noticed.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. And I think everyone should do that things that make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Because after the conversation, I always keep in mind what am I'm doing for even small things that I can make someone smile, make someone life a little bit easier. Thank you, President Cooper. You talk about like you make a lot of realistic goal, a lot of things in life. I think I should ask this question: what legacy do you want or hope to leave at Springfield College?
So legacy is an interesting word, and I think it is in many ways patriarchal in terms of what the legacy of a leader did. There will be buildings, whether it be the Learning Commons or the Health Science Center or the baseball field or the softball field or whatever we put up where Gulick is, that are tangible demonstrations of things that have happened. For me, it's the relationships that, so many of my students now it's been 13 years, many of them have graduated and have gotten married and had children, and they remember me and I remember them, or getting invited to a wedding this summer of two of our former students. That's very meaningful to me that they would want me to be a part of their special day. But I think it's being remembered in a favorable way, that somebody recognized them or somebody helped them. And so my legacy is really going to be about what people take away from their time with me.
Okay. Wow.
And some of that's not going to be favorable. There have been disgruntled employees. It's not all everybody loves you and thinks you're great. There are people that wish you could do more of this or more of that, and you can't please everybody. But you need to please yourself and make sure that you're living by your own moral code and that you're doing the right thing for the college. My barometer is making sure that the decisions that I make are in the best interest of the college. Not what Mary-Beth Cooper wants to do, but what is the best thing for Springfield College, because the next president will have the opportunity to take the college even higher and even further. And so I want to be a good steward of the college while I'm here.
Okay, thank you. President Cooper, before my last question, I want to ask this question. Despite like you have so many things to do, you are so much busy with a lot of other things, you are responsible for a lot of administrative work, your work, and all the things. Why did you decide to come? Why did you agree to come on the student podcast, like my podcast?
Well, because you asked me.
Oh, okay.
Right, and this is good practice for you and the things that you will do moving forward. And so I think it's good for you. And it's been joyful for me because I like talking about Springfield College and what makes us special and what the job is. Also, it gives people an insight into how I described to you before, the president and the presidency. What's the presidency like? What's your day like? What I think people fail to recognize sometimes about all leaders is that they're humans, right? I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I have a son that he's deployed, and so I'm very nervous for him, and I love him very much. I'm a dog owner, and I'm a lot of things, but sometimes people see leaders and they don't see the human dimension, right? And last summer, you may remember, I broke my elbow.
Yeah.
And so I was in a cast, and for 2 months I couldn't drive. And I walked everywhere. And it was very humbling to know that, you're human. Things happen. I fell off a bike, and I got better, and now I'm better, but there was a time where I was very vulnerable. And I oftentimes think that people don't realize leaders are vulnerable. And they have the worries of aging parents or deaths in their family or illness. And so I always hope that people humanize the leader and remember that they have feelings and that they have loves and that they're people.
Okay. I want to wrap up this podcast with one question. What is your message for the Springfield College alumni, current student, and future student?
So for our alums, they were once a college student. And I remember a colleague saying, students are really just alumni in training, right? Because they're going to be a student for 4 years, but for the rest of their life, they're going to be a Springfield College, an alum. And so I often say to our alums to not forget what it was like to have an experience here, what did they love about being here. And so whether they're philanthropic and they provide money for scholarships or they come back and visit and support the college and talk favorably about the college. Future students, the time is fast. When I see new students, they can't imagine how quickly it goes. But you've experienced it. It seems that I welcome them for new student convocation, and before you know it, I'm shaking their hand as they graduate, right? Because it's 4 years, it goes by fast. Now, the COVID was an interruption to all that, but you're never going to be, what I say to current students is you're never going to be in a place with this many people your own age that are so different. And so you can choose. I don't say that everybody has to get involved in everything, but don't miss this, don't waste this opportunity, right? Participate in the Dancing with the Stars tomorrow night. Go to the football game, get out from behind your computer and live amongst your people. Because when you leave here, you're going to go to an office setting maybe, or worst case scenario, you're working from home, which I'm sure works for a lot of people, but doesn't work for me. You're never going to have this much in front of you. So make the most of it because it goes really fast. And that as a senior, I start to see seniors when they come back from the holiday break, there's a little bit of anxiety on their face because they know that it's about to be over. And that progresses as the semester progresses, and I see a little more anxiety every month. And then by May, they realize they have to go and that they can't stay here forever. And maybe, I don't know if they have regrets, but they would like to do some things over. So don't wait to do something over, do it now.
Okay, thank you.
Live it to its fullest, and you already are, because I see you everywhere. So you're a good role model for that particular piece of advice.
That's so nice of you. Thank you, President Cooper. Thank you very much for coming to the podcast.
It was my pleasure. I wish you the very best.
Oh, thank you. I think this was one of the great podcasts. I really like it. And thank you very much for sharing a lot about you and the presidency, unfolding a lot of things that students really wanted to know. Thank you very much for all your time, effort, word of wisdom, sharing about your strategic way of living the life and achieving a lot of goals. I think this podcast was great. I learned a lot from this podcast. And there are so many takeaways from the audience to take from this podcast. Thank you again
Thank
for
you.
coming to the podcast.
All my best to you.
Thank you.